Welcome to today's Explainer. We're actually just going to skip the agenda right now because we need to dive straight into a historic Premier League collapse that is quite literally unfolding right in front of us. We're looking at the stunning, real-time fall of Tottenham Hotspur in the year 2026. We're going to rely purely on match reports, the raw data, and the visceral reactions to understand exactly what in the world is going wrong at Spurs.
And to really grasp the gravity of this situation, you have to look at the immediate reactions. Take a look at this frantic update from Football News 360. Goal! Brentford! Spurs are 3-0 down! It perfectly captures the pure shock of Tottenham's absolute collapse against Brentford. I mean, they literally called it a nightmare. And honestly, that word, nightmare, is exactly what we are going to unpack today.
So let's break down exactly how this unfolded on the pitch. Section 1. The Brentford Nightmare. Matchday 1 disaster.
The sheer speed of Tottenham's undoing here was just staggering. This wasn't some late dramatic collapse. It was a systematic dismantling right from the opening whistle. At 12 minutes, Keane Lewis-Potter opens the scoring. Boom. By 33 minutes, Vitaly Janelt doubles the lead. And right after the halftime break, at 49 minutes, Michael Chioda pounces on a rebound to make it 3. In under 50 minutes of game time, Brentford completely dismantled Spurs with a rapid-fire succession of goals.
But wait, it actually could have been a 4-goal deficit. In the 54th minute, Rodrigo Bentancur concedes a penalty with a completely reckless challenge. Brentford's Igor Thiago steps up, completely sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, but then casually hits the post. He missed the penalty just minutes after their third goal. But, even with that let-off, the psychological damage was entirely done.
The performance was so painful that by the 82nd minute, Tottenham's traveling support had seen enough. They just started streaming out of the stadium. Actually, right around this time, Spurs' Mathis Tel took a shot that flew well over the bar, and match reporters noted that it perfectly summed up their completely dismal afternoon. When your most dedicated traveling fans throw in the towel and go home early, you know the connection on the pitch is totally broken.
Which brings us to Section 2, dominance in the data. Outplayed and outclassed. It's one thing to feel like a team played poorly, but the cold, hard data absolutely backs up that feeling of total submission. The contrast in chance creation is just glaring. Brentford generated a massive 3.62 expected goals compared to Tottenham's abysmal 0.47. Think about that. They weren't just failing to score, they were fundamentally failing to even pose a threat.
The sheer imbalance of the game here is mind-boggling. Look at these numbers. 23 total shots for the Bees compared to just 9 for Tottenham. But the truly damning statistic here? Touches in the opposition box. 38 to a mere 16. It wasn't just a win for Brentford. It was a complete territorial takeover. But to fully understand the crisis, we have to look past just this one match. Section 3. 14 games without wins. A historic collapse. Because this 3-0 drubbing isn't an isolated incident. It's a microcosm of a much larger, historical crisis for the club.
I want you to focus heavily on this number, 14. 14 is the staggering amount of consecutive games Tottenham Hotspur has now gone without a single win. In top-flight football, you guys know a streak like this isn't just a slump, it is a full-blown structural emergency.
Just let that sink in for a second. 0 victories in the year 2026. Every single time this famous London side has stepped onto the pitch this calendar year, they have failed to walk away with 3 points. It's almost hard to believe.
So, how did they get here? We have to zoom out and look at the compounding misery off the pitch. Section 4. Chaos, injuries, and relegation. The perfect storm.
Literally everything that could go wrong is going wrong for them. First off, you have Roberto De Zerbi debuting against Brentford as the 3rd manager of the season. 3 managers in one season? That is a massive red flag for club instability. Then, you've got star defender Christian Romero leaving the pitch in tears with a visible knee injury after a collision, completely crippling their defense. Add in a recent painful defeat to Sunderland, where a Nordi Mukile goal secured the loss. And the ultimate result of all this chaos? The club officially drops into the Premier League relegation zone. From leadership chaos to devastating injuries and heartbreaking defeats, it is quite literally a perfect storm.
So, we have to end on this provocative question. With the club sitting deeply in the relegation zone and carrying the suffocating weight of 0 wins in 2026, can Roberto De Zerbi miraculously reverse this horrific form and save Spurs from the drop? What you should really take away from this explainer is that Tottenham isn't just navigating a tough schedule right now, they are fighting against a deeply ingrained historical collapse across all fronts. Will a 3rd manager be the charm, or is the damage already too deep? Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this totally fascinating unfolding story. Catch you next time.